I feel like I'm in a shadow.
I know, it's
I'm
really
hidden
dark.
in your shadow.
It's really dark. Your phone is really dark. Mine is light and
It
bright.
is.
Light and bright.
Light and bright. Light and bright. You're going to get
Did you-
deodorant on me. She has a habit of getting deodorant on all
Sometimes
over
I
my
do.
clothing.
Because I
Is
like
this
to
on?
be
It's
fresh
on?
and clean.
Do you not, is that not in a good spot?
No, I think it's good. I just wanted to make sure you turned it on.
Okay.
Howdy, Faith.
Hi, everybody. We took a week off because this lady was traveling. Where were you traveling to?
Florida.
Florida. Florida.
With some of my KBB ladies on our first ever retreat, which was absolutely incredible, with a photo shoot, glam, beauty services, all the fun stuff. Oh my gosh.
We should call it the Diva Retreat.
I mean, that's basically
That's
what it is.
basically what it was, right?
I haven't posted anything from it because I've been in the weeds. I was fully 100% in the moment throughout the retreat and did not get on the socials at all.
She ignored me the entire time.
Pretty much.
Just so you ladies know, you guys had more of her energy and focus than I did.
Aside from maybe a couple text messages where he was telling me, I don't know what to do with myself.
I don't know what to do.
I'm lost. She's
Actually,
gone.
I said, no, she didn't.
I'm lost without you. Come home.
I didn't quite say that. I definitely did not say that. Close.
So anyway, it was so incredible. I have over 600 photos and I will be posting now that I'm finally pulling out of the weeds.
Yeah.
Beyond, first off, just being fully present there. Then when I got home, it was all the playing catch up with the academy and things and private clients and all of that. And so now it will be my first full week back in my norm. We're also in the midst of a launch of our next program. So literally just yesterday, I made the links active for our KBB, KBA Academy build program. That is how we end off the year every year, October through December. It's a 3-month body recomp program. We focus on building muscle that will help you lose body fat and keep it off over the long term for the rest of your life. So we're in the midst of, we haven't even pushed it yet, but the links are live on my website now for enrollment. Probably tomorrow I'll officially make that announcement and we'll start pushing that. And then enrollment will be open for 2 weeks. And then we will start that program on October 5th, I believe. And that will run all the way through the rest of the year.
Yep.
And Academy membership will basically be closed throughout that time. So if you want to get in for the build. And that is it. We won't be opening up membership again until January. So, yeah.
FOMO.
Then I can focus there, and we won't be promoting anything new.
Don't get the FOMO.
Get in before we close the doors.
Okay, so that's all that's going on with her.
Yes.
All I've got going on.
That's not all that's going on.
It's
I'm
not
also
all.
maybe prepping for something.
Prepping for yeah.
8 weeks out, y'all. This is where the shit gets real. I totally just said.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. The full-on-ish.
Full-on curse word.
I'm 2 weeks into the book being published. And for those of you that have gotten the book, thank you very much. There's 2 things I want to make you aware of. One, if you haven't left a review, please go leave a review. They are very important. Your experience and the feedback you have on what the book has meant to you is very important to help other people relate to it and see how it can help them, right? So everyone's going to get something different out of the book. If you don't share what you got out of it, then other people looking at it aren't going to know if it's something that they should read as well.
Reviews are so key,
important.
y'all.
It is one of the ways, reviews for books that you read, guys, I want you to think about it this way, is one of the ways you can share your story without having to become an influencer.
Ooh.
Right? The whole idea of, I don't want to go out there, I'm not going to start a YouTube channel. Just write a review. Something that's impacted you and how it's helped you move forward, that's what reviews are. That is a way of sharing your story. So you guys know we're super hot on, we think everyone should share their story. That is the best way to do it. It's the easiest way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, if you've gotten the book, you know how the book ends and you know there's a certain program, challenge, process that's laid out at the back of it. I've been thinking about how I can help people kind of take that and do something with it. So keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, because there may be something official coming out as far as the 60-day Body Confident program being run for you guys as a group or individually to do it with some guidance, some community, some feedback, that type of stuff. So keep your ears open. There may be some new stuff coming there.
Maybe.
So that's what we got going on. What are we talking about today, now that we got all that stuff out of the way?
Well, we're doing what we do best.
What's that?
We're going to make people feel uncomfortable.
We are?
Yes.
Why?
Because we're going into another tough love conversation that has to do with mindset.
What? Mindset?
The way you think about things.
Bring on the rants.
She said, bring it on. Okay, here we go. So we're talking about something called learned helplessness. Drop a comment on YouTube or Instagram, wherever you're watching live, if you know this term, if you've heard this term before, if you know what it means. I know Juliana's going to be on the Googles getting the definition and dropping
Which is part of the conversation.
Yes, it is. It is. Cheers to Juliana. You're going to find out that you are already doing one of the things we're going to recommend that people do.
Yeah.
To help get out of learned helplessness.
Wait, did you see this thing I sent you this morning?
Briefly, yes.
Okay.
But I knew you would have the notes
I gotta
on your
pull
phone.
it up,
I cannot access them on mine. So
Good.
So who knows what learned helplessness is? Juliana says, overthink, question mark. Not quite. No, that's not what we're talking about. She's like, what she does best.
The best, overthink things?
Overthinking. Not quite overthinking, although thinking is certainly a part of it.
It is. I was reading up on this a little bit this morning, and it's like there are so many different, I want to say, entry points into developing learned helplessness, but it really boils down to, and I'm going to read this.
Deb has this is along the lines.
Not thinking for yourself.
Not thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
Really great way of summing it up. Here Juliana says, in psychology, learned helplessness is probably what you were about to
No, that's what the Google
definition,
response comes up.
A state that occurs after a person has experienced a stressful
situation
repeatedly. They believe that they are unable to control or change the situation.
That's it. It's the belief that you are unable to change, so they do not try.
So they do not try even when opportunities for change are available. And this is how they discovered it with dogs. They did testing in dogs way back in the day when they were allowed to test and do kinds of studies that they can't do these days. That would be considered unethical these days, but if y'all have ever heard the story, I love this explanation or this example. The story of the elephant, the baby elephant, and when they tie the baby elephant to a stake and it is not strong enough to break free.
To run away.
And over time, it learns to not try. And then as an adult elephant, it's more than strong enough to break free of the stake, but they keep it attached to a stake, and now it believes that it cannot escape, even though it's strong enough to do so.
It's been conditioned to believe that this limitation exists, even though it doesn't.
That's it. Can we just say really quick, what is going on with my biceps right now?
I don't know. That's what's been going on. What are you talking about?
Hello, 8 weeks out. Look at that vein in that delt separation. Y'all, I'm like, this is my favorite part of prep.
The last stretch. The last
8 weeks, everything starts to show up. My weight has not changed. It has been staying the same over the last few weeks, really. But this is
stop flexing
crazy.
for the camera.
I can't help it. Hello. All right.
Yes, it's being conditioned to think that something is not possible, even when you're shown that it is. Right? And there's a couple things that people said, right? That are symptoms or ways that we know people are existing in this state of learned helplessness. Asking questions that you could easily find yourself. instead of going out and taking the effort because you don't think you have the power to figure something out on your own. Because, and here's the thing, this is what I wanted to read.
Go for it.
It's when it's not working, we start to think it never will. Okay. And that's where a lot of us have been. We've been doing all of these things. We've been trying and trying and doing this and trying that and doing this and trying that. And it's not for lack of effort, but because we put so much effort, we feel like no matter what we do, it's just not going to happen.
Yes.
And we're not considering, here's where the belief and the lies come in. We're not considering, are we doing the right things? Are we being consistent? You know, are we doing the things that actually match what our goals are? Are our goals realistic? Is our timeline and expectation? There's a whole bunch of things that go into it that because we're not considering all these other things, all we're looking at is, I'm trying to get here, I'm doing all this stuff, and it's not happening.
Yes.
So we give up.
So there's kind of two pieces to that. There's the realistic identification of analyzing,
being aware and analyzing
objectively,
right,
what you're actually doing versus what you might not be doing. So that's a huge piece of it. And this is the part, because we're going to get into beliefs and how to shift your beliefs and things of that nature. But a big part of shifting your beliefs is finding the accuracy. I always like to talk about find accuracy, because if you are in this mindset of nothing I do matters, I'm doing all this effort and it doesn't matter, I'm doing everything. What do we hear all the time, right? I'm doing everything and nothing is working. The question is, are you really doing everything? Or is that emotional part of your brain saying you're doing everything and it's not enough, and nothing I do is going to be enough because it is now going into an emotional place and taking out of reality and objective fact? Or if you looked at everything, you tracked everything, because a lot of what we see in the space is you're not tracking, you don't want to track, you feel like you're doing everything, but the truth is you're not.
Yeah. So
I feel like I always talk about when you hear yourself say, I feel like, there's a story after that that is not reality. It is lies, it is emotions that are taking you into a place that is not fact. Feelings are not facts. It's more based in feelings than facts. So I feel like usually does not equal truth. So taking a step back and being able to look at what you're actually doing and possibly not doing, and this is a great example if anybody wants to see the nitty-gritty of this. I have been documenting this year's prep. I documented my last prep in 2022. You can go back and watch that entire series on my YouTube channel, Keto Bikini Secrets on YouTube. This year I've done 4 episodes so far. I'm getting ready to do the 5th. And I'm pulling up and showing you on my screen my progress tracker with every single data point. And this next episode, episode 5, is where I'm going to get really clear on, I could be very frustrated right now with my results. I could be very much, the scale is not moving, the needle's not moving, I'm doing everything. If I didn't have the data in front of me to show me what I'm actually doing and not doing, I might be in my emotions and then quit, give up, whatever, let that take me down a path of learned helplessness. Or I could do what I'm showing you in this series and say, and what you're really going to see it in the next episode, interesting. My calories were actually higher than I thought they were this week. My step count was actually lower than I thought it was this week. My activity out was not where it needed to be. My intake was higher than it needed to be. Maybe it's not hormones. Maybe it's not inflammation. Maybe it's not the scale doesn't want to cooperate, because the scale can't make any decisions, y'all. It's just an inanimate object that's showing you back, reflecting you back what you're actually doing. So you will see in the weeks going forward, when I really ramp things up, that it's all BS when you're making excuses about why you're not getting results.
Yeah.
Even though my hormones are not where we want them to be, even though I have things stacked against me, you will see me make progress because I simply have to do more than I thought I had to do.
Right. You're setting the expectation and you're taking control. And that's the key. Learned helplessness is a condition of your mental state where you feel like you don't have control. And then every decision that you make from that point
It's
is
colored.
based on your belief that it's not up to you.
It's colored
It's
through
the
that lens.
situation's fault. It's your body's fault. It's your spouse's fault. It's whatever it may be. There's some other reason why it's not working for you, and it's not because of anything that you're doing. And that is the trap. There's a very interesting, I'm going to read off a list. Okay? These are the symptoms of how we can see as coaches if somebody is living in that state or condition of learned helplessness.
Exhibiting,
Okay?
yes.
Again, you feel like there's a lack of control, low motivation, a lack of motivation or effort, even when there is an opportunity to change circumstances. We see it all the time. Here, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. We think that will help you move forward. And then it doesn't happen.
But
You want to fight for your limitations. All of the resistance that you have when we give you something, like we give you some recommendations or guidance, and the first thing in your mind is, but here's a reason why that's not going to work.
I can't because instead of
that is learned helplessness.
how can I? Yeah.
That is learned helplessness. Poor self-esteem, a lack of self-esteem or conviction or belief that you can't do something. That's there. Yep. Or that's not that there's an external limitation. It's that I just don't think I can do that.
Okay,
that's
this
too
is huge.
hard for me.
As I was writing the landing page for the build program, I put in the frequently asked questions because I get this every time I launch a new program. Mm-hmm. But is this for me? I'm not a bodybuilder.
Right.
I'm not a bikini model. I don't even want to get in a bikini. Why would this be helpful for me? Or can I do this? I'm going on vacation during the program. Can I still do this? If I'm injured, can I do this program?
How about this?
There's all these things, but I have this autoimmune condition, but I have lymphedema, but I have lipedema, but I have but.
Yeah.
And so I put in there, here's the profile of our members. They all look like you. Mm-hmm. They're all going through something you're going through. We are all special snowflakes that could make an excuse for why we can't, or could say, that's why this will help me.
Yeah. How about the classic ones? Am I too old for this?
That's a huge one.
That's a huge one. I'm too old. I can't do this.
But I'm going through menopause, but I'm postmenopausal.
Yep. I like to tell, you guys may have heard this before, but the whole idea of self-limitation and not having the self-efficacy, as we say in behavioral science, right? The ability, self-efficacy is an individual's belief that they can do something. It is the opposite of poor self-esteem and the belief that you can't do something. So we want you to have self-efficacy. We want you to think, I can, I will try, at least I will try. And you'll see what happens. If you don't even have that level, you're not going to go anywhere. And I tell people, I use the analogy of, I think we've talked about this recently, actually. You don't go to church once you're already saved. Right? The gym.
That's such a good analogy.
The gym is not the gym, or starting a nutrition plan or doing something to improve from where you are. You don't have to get in shape to get in shape. You don't have to.
Oh my God, that's so it.
You don't have to clean your house before the cleaners come over. Right? It's that there's this whole mentality. We have to do all of this stuff to get ready to do all of this. No, do it. That is it. That is the process.
Messy. Show up as you are. Yeah, it's not about this coach is going to judge me if I haven't already lost 20 pounds before I come to the coach. Right. That's what you're coming to the coach for.
All right.
This next one, though.
This one?
This one. That's
This one,
this one. That's
passive
the big
behavior.
one we've been talking
A
about.
tendency to give up quickly or be passive. It is what it is. I'm gonna give myself grace.
Well, and this is the one we see when people come into a program, they pay for a program, especially, I always say this in the academy. I get a question, what's the difference between the group program, the academy, and private coaching? Do I need to be more ready to be on point if I do private coaching? They always feel like private coaching means
They have to do more.
they
right?
need to be more ready and they need to be better at what they're doing. The truth is it's the opposite. Private coaching is more of a hand holding. We're telling you more of what to do and giving you a lot more one-on-one guidance and support every step of the way. Versus group coaching, you actually need to be more conscientious. You need to take more of an initiative because you need to speak up in a group coaching program to let us know what you need. Because if you don't, we're not looking at everything as closely as we do when we're doing one-on-one coaching. So coming into a group program, what we see a lot of the time is people purchase the program and they feel like purchasing the program is going to do something for them, and then they don't take action.
Right. They don't engage, they don't communicate, they don't ask questions.
They're maybe not even logging in and they're not taking action, and you can fly under the radar in a group program. You can't do that with one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
So-
And the minute you're challenged, just another aspect of that, the minute you're challenged with something, when you're feeling helpless, you're much more likely to just be like, that's too hard, I'm not going to do it. Because again,
The resistance.
Well, because here's the thing, it's that repeated exposure to when you did try hard, it didn't work. So you don't have any incentive to keep trying hard. So you have to understand that this is learned. There's a reason it's called learned behavior, right? Or learned helplessness, because you've been conditioned over time. So when you're in a program
learned piece,
and you have a coach or you have someone who's challenging you to try something hard, we're not going to challenge you. Here's the thing. Here's a pair of glasses I want you to put on. We're, as coaches, not going to challenge you to do something we don't think you can do. So if we are challenging you, you have to hopefully try your hardest to say, Coach believes in me. I'm going to trust them and believe in myself and try it.
And that's one of the steps to getting to moving past this learned helplessness and to overcoming it. And truly, once you overcome it, like it's not that thing that's going to keep coming back, because you have to break that pattern of thinking. And when you break that pattern of thinking, you're free from it. It's not like a lot of the other things that keep coming back, and then you have to try to overcome it again. One of the ways I actually see this with some of my highly successful clients is you get healthy, you get lean, you get fit, and then you take that foot off the brake, you gain a little bit back, maybe you got to this incredibly lean, fit, athletic, low level of body fat. And then you come back up to like the higher end of normal after like a kind of a chill season, right? Maybe you stop tracking things, you get a little lax. You're still maintaining, for the most part, your healthy lifestyle and your habits, but you just kind of...
Why are you telling everybody about me?
You kind of let it go, Will.
Why are you talking about me?
I know somebody who does that from time to time. But what happens is when you're like, okay, you know what? I got to get this back in check. Let me get things, going again. And it doesn't happen easily for you. I see them giving up easier sometimes than the people who have a lot farther to go. Mm-hmm. It's like, it happened for me last time. It's not happening for me this time. Right. So maybe it's just not going to happen now. And there's a little bit of giving up, or why should I push this? I might as well just succumb to my situation.
Yeah.
And what I have been saying more and more to these people is, once you've done it once, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy to do it the next time. It actually is harder every time when you're already healthy. You've already pretty much optimized your life.
Well, that goes into the why and what's your motivation. And that's where you guys have heard me talk about, I realized, every time I talk about it, I realize it's further and further away. It's now a couple of years where I'm kind of like, I've been where I want to be. what am I even shooting for now?
Right.
The whole reason I'm doing this is separated. The further you get separated from the pain of why
The
you
original
started,
pain, yep.
the harder it can be sometimes to find new reasons to keep going.
And that's
Right.
like, if I didn't have a stage,
Right.
I probably would have given up by now and said, you know what, this is good enough. I can live here. I can hang out here.
Yeah.
And the truth is, like at this stage of my prep, I've been at prep for 10 weeks now. And I met another one of those like stuck places, one of those stalls, right? It's like, it's just going to take more effort,
More intention, more focus.
more intention, more focus, more diligence, more discipline to break through to the next level. And for a lot of people who are not working toward a particular goal like stage or a competition of some sort, whether it's powerlifting or something else, you're just doing this for a lifestyle.
Well,
It's easier to give up at those points because you're like, well,
here's another
What's my
aspect
motivation?
from what I'm hearing in what you're saying. I'm going to correlate it to people that maybe still have a long way to go.
oh yeah.
Here's the thing. The change in your realization and awareness of where you are in the process will require you to acknowledge that you have to do more than you did before. At some point in time, you're going to move from what we call beginner gains into more advanced intermediate, where you, just by you cutting out Coca-Cola and Pop-Tarts every day,
Or not drinking.
completely changes your life. And then you get to a point where you've seen a lot of progress and you've gotten really good at not eating Pop-Tarts and Coca-Cola. But the next level requires more focused effort and attention. And what got you where you were isn't going to get you where you want to go. So it's another step of effort and change that you have to acknowledge needs to happen if you want to get where you want to go.
Oh my God, this could sum up the entire keto and carnivore communities right here.
Yeah.
You came into keto or carnivore hearing how easy it is. You can lose all the weight without ever working out,
That's a big lie, guys. That is a
without
lie.
ever being hungry. It's the miracle diet. You'll never suffer at all. It'll just be super easy and it goes so fast and everybody can do it. And then you hit your first plateau. Why is it hard now? They promised me I could eat anything I wanted as long as I didn't eat carbs and it would just be effortless. Right? And eventually that's not going to be the case anymore. And you need to do something else to keep things moving forward.
And that's where the challenge comes in, because you're putting in effort, you're doing what everybody told you to do, and then it doesn't work. Well, that didn't work. I'm going to give up. I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing. And that's,
I guarantee
again,
you,
another
that's the
symptom
worst decision you
of
can make.
learned helplessness, right?
But I want to go back to this passive behavior piece because it's this giving up easily. And I don't know if we're going to talk about it down here a little bit more.
There's a long list, guys.
But that's the piece we wanted to talk about with the whole finding information and not being passive about everything. Expecting everything to be given to you.
Passive behavior and lack of control, the two of these are really probably the biggest pieces of this whole conversation. And you're right. We talked about Juliana going to Google and finding stuff. Some of the things that we get when we, as coaches in our communities, we get messages on DMs and emails, whatever it may be. The questions that people are asking, it's challenging for us sometimes to not just be like, did you even Google this before you decided to ask? What kind of effort are you putting in? Or are you just reaching out because you want someone to give you the answer? And understanding that there is no single answer, that your understanding of your context, this word is going to come back all the time, is the key to finding the answer for you. But we cannot give you the answer. We can only guide you to finding the answer for yourself.
That's it.
So if you're not willing to put effort in, and here's the thing, we'll answer questions. I'm not saying don't ask questions. I'm not saying don't engage in the group and ask other people for help and everything else. It's, what is the mentality that you're going into the question with? Are you going into it trying to get clarity? Or are you going into it trying to get a solution? Nobody can give you the solution. But if you come into it saying, here's what I'm dealing with, here's what I found, here's my current understanding, is this correct? Those types of questions are very different and will help you a lot more than, what is this?
We are not telling you not to ask questions.
Right.
Ask we love that. We love questions. We love questions to understand. We want you to ask questions so that you better understand and have a grasp of a situation, not what's the right amount of cardio to do.
That's not something we can tell you.
How much protein should I eat?
Yep.
Right? What's the ratio? What's the magic ratio?
What is BMR? When people are asking us for definitions of things that could eat, there's the thumb, definitions of things, or a simple, like literally, it's like.
We're talking about, the things you could Google
the
that
things
are
you could Google in 2 seconds.
Simple, quick answer kind of things. Right. And then drilling down and asking in the groups.
Like, what does it mean?
What it is that, why are you asking that, right? And I want you to think about any question you get ready to ask somewhere, and you're now going to be waiting for an answer from someone else. Ask yourself, why am I asking this question? Because that might frame the actual question you need to be asking.
That's the key. That's the key. A lot of times we get a question that isn't the actual question. It's 5 steps removed.
It's we would have 5 more questions for you before we could even give you what you're actually
So put yourself in coach's shoes. Before you ask a question, what are the things that coach is going to need to know before they can answer my question? These are the things I'm going to put in my first post, question or comment. Provide the context so that now we can say, okay, we understand what they're asking, why they're asking it, and how they think it's going to help them.
Okay, there's a great template.
Yeah.
When you have a question, consider it as 3 questions. What do I want to know? Why do I want to know it? And what was that?
And why do I think it's going to help?
Yes.
Or how do I think it's going to help?
Because that is the questions we would have asked you in response to your initial question. We would say,
do what Juliana says, the 5 whys.
Why are you asking this? What are you trying to achieve by asking this? What are you hoping that this is going to inform you for your next step? Yeah, you could go the 5 W's, but you probably don't even need to do all that. What, when, why, how,
who, what, when, where. Yeah, you don't need to do. You don't necessarily do that, but just some general context, so we can. What have you been doing? Why do you think you need to go this direction based on what's happened in the past? Like, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can go into. Just give a little more context.
And even if you see something out there in the interwebs and you just want to know our thoughts on it, even there, provide some context. Share the link. I have no problem with people sharing links. Here's what I read. Here's the link to the original article. I would love to know your thoughts on this because this is what I'm thinking.
Right. What is it about that?
When I see this, it's making me question what I'm doing. Or when I see this, I disagree because what do you think?
Yes.
Providing all that is even more helpful than, hey, what do you think about this?
Right. Because there's in a lot of those cases, there's probably 18 different things we think about something in that text. Or
how does it relate to
what are you thinking and what is it you're asking about? That's what we want to know. Like, I could answer this question, but my response may have nothing to do with what you're thinking about, right?
So true.
So you got to give that context.
We have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Trust me, you don't want to know all of them.
Another part of this passive mindset is, and this is something you were talking about last night, is when we post something. We see a link, we see an article or a video or a study or something, and we post it. And we say, hey, this is super interesting. There's a couple points that we really like about here. Take a look. And then comment. What's it about? We posted the link because we want you to go read it.
Educate yourself.
I don't have the time to write an abstract on everything that I read when I post it. I read it. I thought it was interesting. I'm posting it for your own education, for your own edification, for your own process of learning about something, right? Go through it, learn how to critically evaluate, all those types of things. So that's another example of that helplessness of, well, if I'm not going to take the time to go look at it, can you just give me the answer?
Just tell me. Yep.
Just tell me.
Yep. When you are provided a resource, use the resource.
Yes.
At least look at the resource first. And then if you need clarification, ask questions about it.
Yeah.
But don't just ask for now the summary to be given to you.
Right. We just linked the article. Go read the article. Okay. I'm going to skip a couple. There's a long list, guys. We're not going to go over all of these because we don't have 8 hours.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that one.
Anxiety. Oh boy. Oh boy.
This is one of your favorites. I'll let you go on a rant on this
Woo!
one.
Can I say that anxiety is a choice?
Yes. Anxiety can be a symptom of helplessness. It's based in lies.
Woo! Oh my gosh. I have to talk about that TikTok video I saw last night that I showed you with the woman who had a car accident.
Oh my God.
Y'all.
Freaking the F out.
The police were there to do the accident report.
Just a report. We just need to write down what happens for insurance.
Right. When you call the police or the other person calls the police and they show up at your accident scene, it's a fender bender, y'all. It was a fender bender. She was completely freaking out on the phone, at the police, at anyone that could listen.
Balled up on the ground, screaming, my life is over. Don't arrest me.
They're going to take me to jail.
Oh my God.
That, I was like, I feel for this woman that she's living with that kind of anxiety.
Yeah. That
It's
was
not, and the cops in the video were like, really?
like, what are we doing here?
What are we going to do about this?
At one point, they're like, can we just leave?
Can we just go?
Like, this is not
They're
going
like, we
anywhere.
have to file an accident report.
we're
we
not-
just need to get the information.
She's like, I need to get a tow. They're like, we can call a tow truck. They're like trying to be super calm and just like talking her down. And she was pacing around the grass and rolling on the ground and screaming like, ah!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
But a lot of you guys are living with that in here
Yes.
over nothing.
Yes.
Over nothing. You're creating your own stress.
Suffering, right? I like to say,
Right.
right? Challenges are inevitable. Suffering is a choice.
Yep.
We are all going to encounter stressors, difficulties, challenges, obstacles. You literally get to choose how big of a deal you make it. Everything is only as serious as you make it. And my mantra, it's not that serious.
It's not that serious.
Nothing is ever that serious. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Even the biggest emergency within you, the level of anxiety that you have around it is a choice. Everything can be burning down around you, and you could choose to be calm in that moment.
Absolutely.
And that's a belief
Absolutely.
system. That's like what we're talking about here. Learned helplessness is all about beliefs. Perception is reality.
Yeah.
It's either the end of the world or it's just a momentary affliction and it will be over eventually.
Mm-hmm. And even if it is the end of the world, what can you do about it?
I always like to say, and okay, this is
Why
the thing about,
why does getting upset about it change? It doesn't change anything. It's still going to happen.
This gets into the whole politics conversation, which we're not going to get into politics, but just to stay, I don't follow any of it. This could be bad, that I'm not participating in the process and I'm not educating myself about important topics. How important is determined by you. I'm like, if the wrong person gets elected, we end up in World War IV and the world ends. I'd rather be surprised. That's what I told him. I'd rather be surprised. I'd rather live in my ignorant bliss.
When I come home and I go grab my guns and put all my gear on and say, get in the car, we're driving to the woods.
I'll follow him wherever he is to go.
We're done. We're leaving civilization. We're going to go chop down some trees and live in a
I will
log cabin.
ignorantly just happily be doing my meditations and reading my books.
She'd be like, can we bring the coffee?
We need a French press. If there's no electricity, we need a
gosh.
way to make our coffee. Yeah,
Oh, man.
exactly.
Okay,
Juliana
so
wants to come.
okay, come
You're
on.
invited
join
to
us.
the bunker.
All right.
She
so
said, "I'll start the grill." She was our grill master.
she was
on
the grill
retreat.
master for the weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
All
so
right.
there's more stuff we can get into the symptoms. And honestly, guys, here, do this. Go to Google and just type in symptoms of learned helplessness, and the whole list will come up pretty
Diagnose
quickly.
yourself.
But there's also some stuff in here and strategies and how you can help, how you can overcome. Which it's interesting. Some of these overlap. That came up in the search. What I had already written down. What I sent you earlier. So we'll just go off of this.
Let's go for it.
Figuring out why you feel helpless.
Ooh.
That goes into my point of developing self-awareness, developing awareness. There's a lot of aspects that go into your past experience of air quotes failure. And there's two things I want to think about. First of all, how are you defining failure?
I ask my clients to tell me that when they feel like a failure. Well, what is your
that mean?
definition?
Right.
Because I like to define it as you haven't failed at anything until you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's always another day that you're still alive that you could try again.
Yep.
So nothing's final yet. Failure is final.
Yes. Yes. Failure is final. And as long as you are still breathing, you have an opportunity to make the progress you want to make. Your decision to stop is the only way that you could ever fail. So once you understand that progress is always possible, then all you have to figure out is, how do I make progress? And that is the journey. That is the journey, is figuring that out for yourself. That's where curiosity, experimentation, learning what works and what doesn't work, all that stuff, that's where that all comes
And
into.
having a few days or a week that you didn't make progress is not failure.
Right.
You don't have to be progressing every single day.
It's over time, right? Another part of redefining failure is, what are the goals or the timelines you're setting? What are your expectations?
Oh boy, expectations are huge.
Right? You're setting expectations based off of her progress and where she's at after 8, 9, 10 years of doing what she's doing, and you've been doing it for 6 months. You're setting your goals and your timelines off of what some 25-year-old fitness influencer on Instagram is saying they do to maintain their body. That's not you. So understanding these things,
comparison
and
game.
Again, context is the key. So what are you really trying to do, and what is actually realistic? Third layer, if you consistently work towards it.
Oh, I have to mention a resource for y'all that my ladies have been absolutely loving, because there's nobody worse at setting expectations and goals than most women. Let me just be honest. Most women coming into this
Because
is like,
women are more emotional. So it's more about, oh my God, this is how I
where
feel
do you
about
want to
it.
get to her right away, right?
Yeah.
So they come into one of my programs, a 2-month or 3-month program, and the goal is to be down 20 pounds in 2 or 3 months.
Right.
It's highly unrealistic for most people. So I have a workshop with a cheat sheet and a worksheet where you can actually plug in your numbers to discover what your realistic
Rate.
goal
Okay.
and timeline should be.
For body composition.
You can figure out your goal weight based on body composition.
Okay.
So it's not just this arbitrary weight you're selecting out of nowhere and timeline you're selecting out of nowhere. It gives you both.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can calculate what you want to do for muscle gain, you can calculate what you want to do for fat loss, you can put them together and you can see your total recomp timeline. So check out, it's on my YouTube, it's a workshop called Body Composition Goal Setting, I believe is what it was
nice.
called.
Okay, yeah.
If you can't find it, just message me on Instagram or make a comment on YouTube or my Facebook group, Keto Bikini Secrets, and we'll help you find that resource. I will email you the worksheets if you're not already in the academy, where you can get that automatically,
Okay.
and we'll help you figure that out, because that honestly is the first step you need to take. If you have not already set realistic expectations, that needs to be step one. You shouldn't even be taking action toward your goal if you have not clarified your goal yet.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read down this list, and then if there's anyone that you want to pick out or whatever. So,
Sure.
figuring out why you feel helpless, as we just talked about, the awareness. Where are you at? What are you doing? Are you doing the right things? Are you being consistent with it? Identifying why you're resisting change. Focusing on what you can control. Recognizing faulty thoughts. Where are the lies? Challenging helpless feelings. When I feel helpless, where is that coming from? Remembering your strengths, that's a huge one. We see that's the small wins, the micro successes, the non-skill victories, all those things. Practicing acceptance, not acceptance of where you are, but acceptance of the situation and what you can do within it.
Ooh,
There's
that's
a big difference.
clarification
There's
there.
a big difference. Seeking help if you need it. Okay? Now, those things, I'm going to go back to my list because I have a couple things on here. We talked about redefining failure, developing self-awareness, looking for clarity, not answers. Okay? You think if I'm asking a question, I need an answer. You don't need an answer, you need an understanding. We talked about that before.
Yes.
Okay?
But also looking for clarity is part of that changing the thought patterns, finding the accuracy
Right.
and not just believing what your emotional brain is telling you.
Right.
Challenging the thoughts. I like to say challenge every thought you think.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of us grew up with some sort of programming that is no longer serving us.
Yeah. Here's a tip. I'm putting this together in my head. I'm going to say it out loud as I'm thinking about it. If you're asking somebody a question and they give you an answer, and then your next question is why or how, the first question should have been the why or how. Right? Because
Yes.
that's what you're really trying to understand. So think about it from that perspective. What am I really trying to get to? And we talked about some things how you can frame that.
Yes.
Look for social proof. This is a big one we haven't talked about yet. If you're stuck feeling helpless in your situation, you talked about it a little bit, there's thousands, millions of other people that are doing it, that are making progress, that are figuring it out. Follow that example. That's what our communities are about. That's our story. We've been there.
Well, connect
right?
with people who are like you. So, unlike following that 25-year-old influencer, what are your particular challenges?
Yep.
Go into communities and find people like you. And these are the kinds of posts and questions that I love. Hey, guys, I have this particular challenge. Who else here has struggled with this? What have you found to be helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll see people just like you who have made progress, and that helps change your perception to believe that it's possible for
Yes.
you too.
Yes.
Not, well, she's 30 years younger than me, so of course she can do it, I can't.
Well, that's another aspect, right?
He's got this going for him, and that's where these but me thoughts come in.
Yeah.
So find people like you. And
Yeah.
and then you'll be reinforcing the belief that, hey, if they did it, I can do it too.
Yes. Yes. We saw that that video about the guy on the suicide line where he talked about the technique. The technique is to highlight the negative emotion or the negative feeling. Identify it.
Say it out loud. Say,
And
what is
then
this
it can
emotion?
be, until you identify it, you can't address it.
I like to say, name it to claim it.
Name it to claim
What
it.
is the emotion?
And then what we don't often talk about, which is what this is talking about, the social proof, find proof that it's possible, is also identify the good parts about what's going on so that you can build on top of it, right? And he used the example of he had a call come in and the guy was seemed very frantic about something that was going on. And he basically just said, it sounds like you're very frantic about the situation. And the guy immediately recognized the feeling he was having and was able to address it. And then through their conversation, all the things the guy was talking about he was dealing with, the guy on the phone basically just said, it sounds like you're very determined about getting through this situation. And immediately the guy connected with that determination, was like, I got this.
Yep.
Because he was able to identify the feeling that was negative and then also identify a positive aspect of the experience he was able to build on. So you
Yes.
have to get both sides of those things at the same
And
time.
that's why pretty much all coaches usually use what are the wins?
Yes.
Like every week when you're doing your check-in, I do a gratitude. What are you grateful for this week? And then what are your wins? What can you acknowledge yourself for this week? And before we get into the challenges and the obstacles, because it helps you kind of put yourself in the positive frame of mind before you even get to that negative stuff. And the gratitude versus the wins, because people tend to go to wins and think it has to be a result. And that's why I ask the question in the way, okay, what are your wins for this week? What can you acknowledge yourself for? Because the wins are not just the results. The wins are, what did I do to get the results this week?
Sure.
Maybe the results didn't come this week, but what efforts did I put in?
Regardless of the
wins.
results. Guys, a win can be, I stayed on track even though I didn't see the results I was looking for. That's a win.
Yep.
That's celebrating your ability to be consistent.
The wins are
Your commitment.
there were temptations all around and we didn't eat the
giant brownie ice cream sandwich
sundae
at dinner last night. Oh my God.
that his
looked so
11-year-old nephew had for his birthday dessert at the
Oh my
restaurant.
God, that looked so
Y'all,
God.
it was insane.
I wanted to just grab that thing off his plate so bad. I was like, give me that.
But we
It was
didn't
so
go for
good.
it. We also did not order the sweet potato
So
fries.
normally, I wouldn't say normally, there have been times, because I mean, we don't go there a lot. So
No.
whenever we do go to that, it's a nice big fancy
really
steakhouse restaurant.
good. Yeah.
We don't normally get desserts when we go out. But when we're out with my family, we go, this is like our favorite family restaurant for birthdays and special celebrations. When everyone else is getting the cheesecake or the brownie cake or the whatever else,
Drinks,
the
yeah.
raspberry sorbet or who knows whatever else you're getting,
The chocolate
we
martinis.
would get the big serving of sweet potato fries because
I'm
guys,
sure
their sweet potato fries are like dessert.
They are.
They are freaking amazing.
Especially when they're hot out of the oven.
Oh gosh.
It was only one time that we did this.
It was.
But it is like memorable
But it's
for
memorable,
that reason.
and we were going last night, and we're like, oh crap.
He was like,
this is
"Oh,
where the
man.
sweet potato fries are.
You know, there's a problem with this
And
restaurant.
we both were like, no, we're not. She's on a cut. She's got 8 weeks out. I'm trying to lean out a little bit because we're talking about doing.
We're doing a photo shoot
I
together
guess
in
we're
Mexico.
doing a photo shoot together in
It
Mexico.
has been decided.
So there's this stuff happening. So we're like, all right, we got to
We're
be
not
on
going
point.
to do it.
So yeah, we just decided this is
That's
not
a
what we're
win.
doing, and that's a win.
Guess what? I didn't get the drop on the scale that I
I was
wanted.
going to say, and you got on the scale this morning, and it was higher.
It was up.
But that's not.
And
a
I'm now
failure.
not going to say, oh, I have no wins this week. Oh, this week
Right.
was a shit show and nothing worked the way it was supposed
That's
to. And everything is bad. Like, because we see that in check-ins
Yeah.
where there's no wins. There's nothing good going on. I ruined everything. And then you find out when you ask more questions, they just had one bad day this week. But because that's front of mind, now the entire weekly check-in is negative.
Yeah. How about you woke up?
Woo! Yeah. How about you don't have a fever? How about you're not stuck in bed? How about you're able-bodied and you're able to use your hands and feet?
Yeah.
And yeah, all these things that we take for granted on a day-to-day basis. That's why I love the gratitude question, because a lot of people will
Literally was just going to say that.
they'll put the wins in the gratitude section. And then they get to the wins and they're focused on the results.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, at least I had the gratitude section where they could recognize something good going
good.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, this process is intended to improve your quality of life, improve your mental health, improve your physical freedom and independence, improve your relationships, improve your job, improve every aspect of how you experience life. The more you perpetuate negative thinking about the process of improving, the less improving actually happens.
Honestly, if you were to
Right?
fall in love with the process
That's
of
exactly
getting
it.
to your goals,
Yes.
getting to your goals would actually become effortless. And eventually it would show up and you'll be surprised by it.
Yeah. When you stop thinking about how hard it is, guess what? It stops being hard.
I love that you said that, because somebody asked a question in my group last week
Although,
in their check-in
Mm-hmm.
saying, why is it so hard for me to give up dairy? And I said, because you're choosing to make it hard for yourself. You get to make it easy. What would it look like if it was easy for you? If giving up dairy is a goal for you for a particular reason, which a lot of the time, eventually people in my group get to that point where they realize, I don't think this is serving me, and I'm going to go for a period of time without dairy.
Isn't that what Juliana's dealing with right now?
That
She
is-
just posted about
that
a
is,
non-dairy.
But she wasn't the one. But there's like a handful of ladies who are all like diving into that right now. And, I challenged that. It doesn't have to be hard for you. You get to choose how you feel about making this change.
Yeah.
The same thing happens when people go on a cut. Oh my God, I don't know if I should go on a cut right now. It's going to be so hard. What do I do about the hunger? You're not even hungry yet.
That goes back to the anxiety piece,
What
right?
are you creating that's not even in your life yet?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be suffering. Suffering is a choice.
Suffering is a choice. Yep. I think we covered a lot.
Yes.
Do you guys think we covered a lot? In case you haven't already, which I'm hoping that everybody watching, at least on my YouTube, and everyone watching on her Instagram, is following her and subscribe to me. And I'm doing this direction because, one, she's over there and I'm over here, but also her phone's over there and my phone's over here. So YouTube on this side, Instagram on that side. Please subscribe. This kind of stuff, we do this most of the time every Sunday morning. We didn't do it last week, obviously, because she was traveling. But can you believe this is 34 episodes?
Wow. A lot longer than our podcast.
Our podcast was
lasted.
11, I think. But yeah, guys, we're having a blast doing this.
We love this. Is our favorite.
I
piece of
enjoy
content
doing
to
this a
create.
lot more than any of the other content that I do. And I'm probably going to just focus on this for a while because this is just fun. It's something we get to do together. So yeah, I'm loving it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If there's any topics, here's another thing. If there's anything you guys want to hear about, please comment in here. Send us an email. Join my Discord. Join her Facebook group. Do something where you can get in touch with us and let us know what you'd like us to talk about. We talk a lot about mindset, and most of our content the last couple months has been all mindset. We would love to talk about some nutrition stuff. We would love to talk about some fitness stuff or
But
other
you
things.
tell us what you need.
But we want to talk about what you want to hear about. So if there are topics in that area you want to talk about, then let us know and we'll talk about those things too. So
Yes,
take it easy, guys. We'll
indeed.
see you next week.
Coach Bronson on both YouTube and Instagram.
Coach.Bronson. Yep.
At the Keto Bikini Pro on Instagram. Keto Bikini Secrets on YouTube and Facebook. See
you
y'all
guys.
next week. Bye.